What is going on, Jerome's? Your Minnesota Fighting Vikings moved to 6-1 on the season after a 34-26 win over the Arizona Cardinals here at the Friendly Confines, historic U.S. Bank Stadium. The pass rush, Za'Darius and company, they call a game at the end. 2 straight sacks of Kyler Murray to run out the clock, and it's a beautiful thing. And it was just one of those games again, where the Vikings got out to the 14-3 lead, and then the Cardinals came back, and then the Vikings got out to another lead, and then the Cardinals came back. And it was just a sort of a sloppy give-and-take game. I mean, the Vikings didn't really go for the jugular on offense, although they did look good in spurts, but it is what it is. A win is a win is a win, and the Vikings moved to 6-1 on the season, extend their lead over the NFC North division as the Lions lost, the Bears lost, and the Packers are going to get their ass whooped tonight against the Buffalo Bills on Sunday Night Football, and for that we thank you. So you're feeling good. You got to feel good. This was a very good win against a very solid football team. Even though Nuke Hopkins got his, even though Kyler Murray still did some damage, the Vikings were able to do enough on defense and were able to get after Kyler's ass quite a bit, where they were able to come out with that victory. So let's see here. Team stats wise, let's see here. Going through. All right, so the Vikings 6-13 on third down. That has to improve. They were 5-5 in the red zone for touchdowns, so that's kind of nice. The Cardinals are 4-10 on third down. Whatever. Let's see here. How many? Well, the frustrating thing is, so Arizona completely shot themselves in the foot. 10 penalties, 67 yards, but then the Vikings had 10 for 86, the highest of the season, so that's not good either. But you won the turnover battle by 2, and you're at home. And it shouldn't have to be this close, man. Shouldn't have to be this close. But Derek Baker, $20 in the super chat. Finally beginning to see what Dontel's defense could be. Offensive line was crap, and Kevin O'Connell didn't adjust. I do think that O'Connell got a little bit passive at the end. I think that he was settling for resting on his laurels with that 8-point lead. But, you know, I think that they were dynamite in the red zone. But this is... you see glimpses that this team potentially could be great. They're very good. Don't get me wrong. You are what your record says you are. 6-1 is 6-1. But this team has the potential to be elite. This team has the potential to be one of the best in the National Football League. But it's still piecing it together. Consistency is key. Like, I don't put them in the conversation with the Chiefs, the Bills, the Eagles yet. We're getting very close. We are the tier below, but yet. All right. So, again, you are what your record says you are. The Vikings have won 5 games in a row, and the only loss is against the Philadelphia Eagles, who are the only undefeated team in the league. So you do have that you do have that feather in your cap. Let's see, Samuel Aker. Time to be concerned about Ingram. Ed Ingram just got worked. Like, J.J. Watt basically adopted him, made him his child, and Ed Ingram has had some really rough games as of late. I do think that schematically they have to get him some more help, or I wouldn't go as far to say replace him in the lineup, but we're getting towards that conversation. If you got a question, toss it in. Toss a couple bucks in the super chat. We will get to it. But with the postgame show, we've been doing takeaways. The Vikings had 3 takeaways of Kyler. Also the fumble recovery. So it's good times, man. So takeaways, it should not have to be like this. So you got out to that 14-3 lead. You picked off Kyler twice. You recovered a special teams fumble. Again, Matt Daniels' unit is doing fantastic work yet again. But, I mean, winning by 1 score at home, it's rough. Again, a win's a win. Yes, but we thought today was the day. Just going to cruise to like a nice 30-6 type win, but no. Anthony Sebring, $2 in super chat. It was a good game, but we should we keep Greg or cut? I think that at minimum they should have kicker tryouts this week, just to put in the back of your minds like, hey man, you're not stepping up. It's week 8 and you have 5 missed field goals and 3 missed extra points, so 8 kicks total. You were averaging 1 missed kick a game. Can't have that. Also, he does it at the most inopportune times as well, man. Just ridiculous. But it speaks to resilience. So this team has done battles over the last 5 games, right? When you had to dig deep, some of those games, maybe they shouldn't have had to against the Lions and the Saints and the Bears, whatever, but it is what it is, and the Vikings have been able to find ways to win, finding ways to get things done. It's extremely hard to win a game in the National Football League. On any given Sunday, anyone can beat anyone, all those cliches, but it is true. Now, the fact that the Vikings have stitched together 5 wins in a row, it's impressive, man. Also, they left a lot of meat on the bone. Offensively, especially like the run game was cooking. Kirk had a couple of throws out there where it should have been better. It should have been a better closing to Kirktoberfest. The run blocking is elite. Let's see here. Rushing wise, Dalvin ended up with 111 yards on the ground, which is his first 100-yard game of the season. He averaged 5.6 yards per carry. Madison averaged 8 per carry, getting after it. Rasta Baker, $2 in Super Chat. We did good. Be excited. It is exciting time, but we're raising our standards a little bit as well. Then you have Dalvin is still that dude. So Dalvin, I mean, this was a vintage Dalvin performance. He was running hard. I think it's a carryover from that long run against the Dolphins, and it was just good. It was just really, really good game from number 4. Jorge Hernandez Gonzalez, $2 in Super Chat. Are we good now? I think the Vikings are good. I think that they have the opportunity to be very good, perhaps even great. Pete Bosch, $5 in the Super Chat. Smiley face. That's right, man. Tristan D, $2 in Super Chat. Think we trade for a player tomorrow. I think the Vikings should consider being buyers at the trade deadline. Hey, how much for your finest Justin Tuckers? Also, hey, let us know where you're watching from. We'll give a couple shout outs. So next up, soft zone still got to go. I mean, especially late in the game. Was it frustrating for you on 1st and 19 when Nuke Hopkins just runs completely wide open and free? You're not playing man. You're sitting back in that soft zone. It's like, they can't pick up a first down, and then Nuke just is wide open. Or, I mean, Hopkins, 12 catches, $159, and a touchdown on 13 targets when you knew he was going to get the football. Yeah. Meanwhile, Jefferson had 6 catches for 98 on 8 targets. Relatively quiet game in the grand scheme of things, but yeah. It happens. Anthony Seaburn, could the Vikings be ready to win at Bills with Diggs? I think that they could have a chance to beat the Bills. They'll have to get their ish together. Patrick Bosch, another $2 in Super Chat. Bridge Boys, $10 in the Super Chat. Osborne is that dude. Not related to my question. Who was the best run blocker today? Off the top of my head, I would say Darisaw. Although Bradbury did get some good work done too, despite the taunting penalty. Mace Jackson Jr., $2 in Super Chat. Where'd that go? Top 3 positions in need at the deadline. Well, the thing is, like, the Vikings don't have like a major need at the positions that are going to be traded. Like, a lot of the positions going to be traded are edge rusher, are wide receiver, are running back. So they could also stand pat. If they want to freshen up in the cornerback room, I wouldn't be mad at it, especially if they can get an elite guy. Maybe defensive interior, although Kyrus Tonga, I thought he looked really good today. Also, Ross Blacklock getting more and more involved. Like to see that. Jorge Gonzalez, we should bring OBJ. Yes. And also he's a free agent, so it wouldn't cost any draft picks. Brad B22, $5 in Super Chat. Offense going 3 and out twice at the end is unacceptable. It is, especially O'Connell got very conservative at the end. He was okay letting the defense take over, even though first down essentially ends the game since Arizona had their ass in the sling with timeouts, but it happens. Two Fallon, $5 in Super Chat. Do you think the Vikings give up for Claypool? I wouldn't give up much. Maybe like a 2024 fourth. That's it. Like, I like Claypool, but also I'm not going to overpay for Claypool either. Zadarius Smith is an all-pro. He just absolutely got after, man. Zadarius, 7 tackles, second on the team behind Cameron Tiny-Dancer, 3 sacks, 4 tackles for loss. Broke up a pass on that final drive. He's just all over the place, fighting through the knee-on-knee hit that he had from Harrison Phillips. Just fantastic, man. Also, great day for the veterans. Harrison Smith out here getting an interception. Eric Kendricks turning back the clock, looking like Eric Kendricks. Patrick Peterson, fired up. Revenge game, looking freaking fantastic, man. Zadarius, like we mentioned, Adam Thielen had himself a nice game, especially in the first half. And then Greg Joseph needs to get himself unfudged. Sorry, family show. Like we said, he misses kicks at the most inopportune times. I understand that all of his misses are over 50 yards, but he's supposed to be the big leg guy. So he's supposed to be able to make those. And also he has trajectory too flat on the 56-yarder before halftime. I understand that it's blocking up front, plays a part in it as well, but that easily could have turned into 6 for Arizona. I mean, they're lucky that it didn't, and also that missed PAT was just, it completely changed the outlook of the final part of the game, where teams play different if you have a 1-score lead versus a 2-score lead, and he gnaws that up. It's just, he's got to figure it out, or he needs to be replaced. I think, bottom line, the Vikings need to have kicking tryouts this week just to see what their options are, and also put the fear of God into Greg Jones. Like, hey, you've missed 8 kicks this year. We've only played 7 games. Yeah, it's where I said that he's averaged a missed kick a week, but that includes the bye week. Did he miss one there too? It's possible. And then the great one, $5 to Super Chat. If the Packers lose Monday night, do you root for them against the Cowboys next week? Yeah, it's starting to get to that point. It's possible, or they could just tie. That's such a cop-out answer, but I don't care. VIP stats, $2 to Super Chat. Do you feel sorry for Kingsbury, and why? No, absolutely not. He was a failed college coach. He's a failed NFL head coach. He cheats with his timeout usage, but I'm very annoyed the way that Cliff Kingsbury was obviously using his timeout. So in a spot where the play clock was running down, it happened in the first half and the second half. He goes over to the side judge, timeout. And if they don't get the penalty, I bet you he just completely ignores it, lets the play run. But if they get the penalty, he's like, hey, I was calling timeout. Look at me. It's ridiculous. Like, you should not be able to avoid a penalty because maybe we're taking a timeout. I don't know. It's ridiculous. Jay Siege, $2 in Super Chat. That's right. Hey, let us know where you're watching from. We'll give a couple of shout outs. And lastly, the Vikings could be very good. And that is legitimate. I mean, the Vikings are 6-1, tied right now with the Giants, who are playing against Seattle. So the Vikings are tied for the best record in the National Football League. They're currently the 2 seed in the NFC. And we've seen glimpses on offense and defense and teams where they can be as good as anyone in the league. But in terms of letting teams back into games, yeah. Now, yes, it's different than previous years because then the Vikings come back with their own can of whoop-ass. But closing teams out, staying dominant, staying hard throughout the entire game, I think that's something that the Vikings need to work on. Dino, $5 in Super Chat. Are you going to meet up? Had to work during the last one. Love the show. Yes, we're considering it at some point, potentially looking at the weekend after the Vikings play on Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving weekend, the Vikings play the Patriots Thursday night. So we will see what happens. All right, a couple of shout-outs. We got Plymouth. We got Parts Unknown, Little Rock, Arkansas. We got Colorado Springs, Mariana, California. When the Sun Shines, Hinckley. Minneapolis, Monmouth, Oregon. 6-1, baby. Mike from New Jersey. Oh, it's Jersey Mike's. I get it. Cologne, Germany. Let's go from Oklahoma or the Texas, Tejas. That's right, man. You guys are the best. All right, and as much as we're pissing and moaning, complaining, and chucking and jiving and all that stuff, we've said this before, and we'll say it again. 6-1 is indeed 6-1, and the Vikings are getting it done. It's not always pretty, but 5 wins in a row. That doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't, man. Chad Haugen, $2 in Super Chat. Do you think defense won this? I think the defense stepped up in the final drive. I think that the defense kept it closer than it should have been, and also the offense isn't blameless in that either, but it's kind of rough. Eau Claire, Wisconsin. Brooklyn, New York. Green Bay. Ireland all up in here. Hawaii, South Dakota. San Diego. German for Wales, Vijay. Detroit Lakes go crazy. Atchison, Kansas. Reno. Jason Kim, $5 in Super Chat. Flex. St. Paul. Burleson, Texas. Named after Nate. I love it. Rochester, MN. Med City. Wait, does Za'Darius have 4 sacks? No, I think they only credited him with 3. I think that last one, I think that last sack, they just credited it as a tackle because I think Kyler just fell down. but it really doesn't matter. But all right, that's it for the post-game live stream. Make sure to check us out. We'll have the winners and losers video up very shortly.